Hello. Hey guys. So, no, do not panico before we start this video. This is not me being like, hey guys, I'm not a Wiccan anymore. Nor is this me exposing anything to do with Wicca or anything like that. So please do not panic. Calm your little witch's boots down. So hey guys, how's it going? My name is Harmony Nice, and today I'm going to sort of be doing another Wiccans React video. As a little bit of a backstory to everything that you are probably noticing that's going on at the minute. Really recently, I was watching a few of my old videos, and a couple of things that I noticed is how similar I felt my filming style was, and I feel like emotionally and mentally I have progressed so much since my old videos. Definitely a lot more knowledgeable Wiccan, and I can comfortably and wholeheartedly say that. But I still use the same camera, my videos were still filmed in the same style, and when I did my tarot lookbook I was so unhappy with how it was filmed. I felt like I was stepping back 2 years ago and filming like how I used to, so I hated every second of it. I hated editing it, I thought it was rubbish, I really didn't like it. I know you guys seem to appreciate it, but it flopped ridiculously. So I had a big reevaluate of what I wanted my channel to be, what I wanted to look like, what I wanted the aesthetic to be. So I worked really hard as well along with my mum, thank you Jade, God bless. She helped me paint my room. I decorated my room a little bit, made it into a place that I wanted to be, as well as update my camera. The sound and the camera quality should be a poppin'. I really feel like I've reflected on what I want my channel to be, and that I can make it so much better and kind of let it grow with me as I have grown as a person. But there was one video on my channel, I think it was around 3 years ago now, I uploaded a all about Wicca video. The one thing that has made me cringe in life is when people come up to me and they say to me, I saw your all about Wicca video, I really liked it. And I was always like, thank you so much. But in my head I was like, I can't remember what I said in this video, and also I just remember being like a little biased motherfucker, having not a fucking clue what was to come in my Wicca journey to make me reevaluate everything that I believed in, become the Wiccan I am now. At that particular point in my Wicca journey, I had been studying for around 2 years and practicing witchcraft since I was 14. So a long time. I've almost been practicing witchcraft 10 years now, and I've been practicing Wicca 5 years now. And at that point in my Wicca journey, I basically had practiced Wicca for 2 years. I felt like I was pretty educated on it. I felt like I was educated enough to speak about it. I had never ever, this is not me excusing this child because bloody hell I said some stupid fucking shit. I had read books, I had been researching things online, but I had no part in like online communities. I'd spoken to other people about witchcraft and things like that and elements of my journey, but I had never gained experience from other Wiccans. I also had a very biased opinion of Wicca at this point, which is completely different to how I feel now. So I made the video. It got a really good and bad response. Loads of people liked it and was like, this is really helpful, really interesting. And some people, firstly, Christians, hated it. Love you, my Chrissies. Don't get me wrong. Majority of the time, if they're like a strong Christian that believe witches are evil, they don't like me that much. And then the other side of things, there was people who just kind of wanted to hate on what I was doing. I think a lot of people found it irritating that a 19-year-old was speaking about a religion and a subject and gaining recognition for it, when I feel like definitely there was a lot more experienced Wiccans to learn from. But don't get me wrong, I get it. This is why I do these videos, to kind of dispel misconceptions. So if I put across misconceptions in that video, I understand why people would want to like reply back and be like, this bitch has no idea what she's talking about. After that video, I worked very hard to gain respect within the Wicca community, basically, just so you guys know. And it took me a long time. It was also that time period where you couldn't get things wrong on YouTube, because if not, or change your mind, because if not, people would be like, she never believed in this, she has no idea what she's talking about. So if I got something wrong, like for example, in that video, I said the word Samhain wrong, I said Samhain. People were kind of like, she's such a liar, she doesn't even know how to pronounce soured. So everyone was kind of in that mindset and that space where instead of like educating and being like, hey, like just so you know, like you got this wrong, or trying to help me, everyone instantly jumps on being like, fuck this bitch, she has no idea what she's talking about, instead of educating. Where I think as a community, as a Wicca community and a witchcraft community has improved so much. I'm so proud of that, and I feel like I've improved doing that too. I realized that I needed to be so much brushed up on, and within the space of the year I also met somebody that taught me, who was a very older Wiccan than me. So I learned so much. I met so many different Wiccans, did so many different things. I wrote a book on Wicca, on beginners Wicca. I genuinely feel I have not spoken about 90% of the things that I have learned in Wicca since that video on the internet. Enchanted Endeavors on my YouTube ideas is like the longest part of the list. Like, I think a lot of people kind of expect me the most educated person on Wicca ever, but I'm not. I think I know a lot more than some Wiccans do. I think loads of Wiccans know a lot more than I do. But as long as I stay curious, I stay loving the planet, I believe in magic, I believe in witchcraft, I follow what Wicca teaches, I will always be learning, and therefore I will always have something to share. And sometimes you don't have to be the best at something to have to share it online, but obviously there is misconceptions which can be harmful to the faith, which is why I make the Wiccans React videos and things like that, and which is why I wanted to do this video for so long. The reason I never ever took it down. I just wanted to quickly mention as well that even though the video isn't the greatest of all, if I genuinely thought I was spouting complete bullshit in it, I would have deleted it. But I think instead of it being just all bullshit, it was accurate, but for a specific type of Wiccan. So instead of like it being bullshit, it was just a lot more biased than it was bullshit. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention that, just so you guys know. I have like a lot of nostalgic and emotional attachment to that video because it was like the start of my Wicca journey on YouTube in general. Secondly, because I've always wanted to make this video. I've wanted to make a video dispelling the misconceptions and the things that I got wrong within that video, and I also would love to make an updated all about Wicca video. So if you guys would like that. Basically at this time as well, I was just trying to like gather the main parts of the information about Wicca to not make it such a long video, because at the time I was only like 10-minute videos, that's all you can do. Now I'm like, this video is 2 hours long. That's short. But to do Wicca the justice that it deserves, and as something that I literally have followed for 5 years now, I honestly have never felt closer to it, which is great too. With all that being said, what I'm going to be doing is reacting to my all about Wicca video. I'm going to be telling you the parts that I agree with and the parts that I no longer agree with. And like I said, if you'd like me to make like a whole updated all about Wicca video, I would love to do that. And I might even change the title of my old video. But with all that being said, I am going to be reacting to this. I opened my laptop like I'm going to react to them, reacting to my phone. You silly woman. I'm so nervous because I was worried that you guys would be like, you're a fucking idiot. Hi. I'm scared. The hi, is anyone there? By the way, there was a big conspiracy whether it was there or here. It was there. Oh, I just realised I'm wearing this hat and it looks like I'm trying to be like witchy. I am 100% gonna confirm that I did actually wear that to be witchy. I just put the hat on. Oh my god. Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Harmony Nice, and oh dear. That's not good. Wicca. It has recently come to my attention that a lot of you guys don't actually know what Wicca is. I recently started a series on my channel called Enchanted Endeavors, which basically touches on the subjects of Wicca and some aspects in it. And a lot of you guys were actually just asking like, what the fuck is Wicca? Sorry, but who thinks that I put on a voice? Because I 100% definitely do not speak like that. Oh, I was so untouched and lovely. Bless me. What Wicca is all about, the kind of basis of the religion and what I do in the religion. Hopefully it will help you guys if you were just interested, or if you didn't know what the religion was and you were just like, what the fuck are you talking about, Harmony? And hopefully I will be able to just answer this question for you. Firstly, I have to make a couple of quick disclaimers. If you do not believe in this faith, that is totally okay. We can all believe in whatever we— Classic Harmony and her disclaimers, am I right? If you're a Christian or whatever, I just ask for you to respect my views on religion, and I will respect yours, just because I think we can believe in whatever we'd like to believe in, as long as it's not harming anyone. Just kind of accept still being a respectful bitch in 2019. Oh, I'm so nervous about this video. My stomach. Very true still. I still agree with that. That is also okay. Loads and loads of Wiccans live their life. I definitely still agree with that. I just want to say I 100% still believe that every single Wiccan lives a completely different lifestyle. You do not have to look a specific way to be a Wiccan. You do not have to talk, act, cast the same spells. The really only basis of what a Wiccan believes in is like the basic beliefs in a Wicca faith. So you do what you want with the elements and the teachings that it gives you to create your magic, bitch, and your own Wicca path. Why am I going through, like, I just don't, like, oh, my head. Wicca. Oh, Wicca God. Is a religion. It is a neo-pagan witchcraft religion. It is a very well-established religion that is based around the old traditions of witchcraft and nature. Wicca is the belief that humans are not superior to nature. They were— So, okay, firstly, I'm gonna start by saying Wicca is a neo-pagan or pagan and nature witchcraft-based religion. It is a very established religion, but it has only been established since the 50s. Even though the actual teaching of what Wicca teaches has been around before pre-Christianity, because it is a pagan religion, so like celebrating the Sabbaths and things like that has been around before Christianity. Actual like establishment of Wicca was made in the 50s, we think, but by who and when and how it did is still kind of up for debate. Even though it is believed that Gerald Gardner had a big influence in it, there was other people that had influences within the religion that actually could have been the, like, they like named it and like created, made it a thing, basically, spread the word about it as well. More alongside with nature than— Also, Wicca is not the belief that we are the same as the earth. That tends to be the general teaching of paganism, is to be like nature worshippers. That sounds a bit like intense, but basically it is the belief that we are like the same as the earth, and the earth created itself, and we should honor the earth and take care of the earth, and we are not above the earth, but instead people on this earth that should be taking care of it, and basically just kind of seeing the world as it is and exploring it and nurturing it and using the natural occurrences within the earth as guidelines for our religion and our magic. Like the moon, like the sun, the natural changes of the seasons and things like that, and the natural circle of the year. Overruling it and thinking that humans are superior to nature and trying to cause as little destruction as you possibly can. A Wiccan does use magic, not the kind of conventional supernatural magic that you kind of hear about like everywhere. We're not crazy. We more use stuff from— again, yeah, Wiccans do practice witchcraft. I agree with what I was saying there, but supernatural magic can be misconstrued in different ways. What I meant is fantasy magic. Not standing up for this little hoe, don't get me wrong, like I definitely 100% think everybody's comments on the video so far are like, you know, like acceptable and completely understandable, because I'm already seeing flaws and I'm already seeing like a kind of it was like I knew what I meant, but like I didn't put enough planning and effort into wording it correctly for people to understand, basically, which I'm still not a fucking very good person at. All of our 5 senses of our own being to produce extremely effective results just by kind of using these things. Also, a Wiccan is believed to be a strong pacifist. Basically the rule that— Okay, so also, I don't fucking know where that came from. Basically, like I said, at the time I was very biased about what my Wicca faith endured. I learned a lot about this specific coven from a specific coven, and they heavily believed in pacifism. So I'm not speaking to any other Wiccans, just basically took that for law and was like, all Wiccans are pacifists, which they are not. Some Wiccans choose to do positive magic, some choose to do negative magic. There is a general belief in Wicca that is, if it harms no one, do what you will, but some Wiccans believe this and some Wiccans do not. Believe there is people that do bad things and people that do good things, and that is affected on how we leave our mark on the world and how people see us and how positive and negative energy that we create around us. Wiccans live by is, if it harms none, do what you will, which also kind of leads to the belief that— Okay, so again, lots of Wiccans follow the if it harms none, do what you will, which I can understand why I thought it would have been like a pacifism thing mixed in, because I am a pacifist still. Not all Wiccans follow this saying. they don't. Not all Wiccans follow the saying. This is a saying that I believe was created, I think it might have been even as late as the 70s. Might have been a bit earlier than that, I'm not sure. Whereas in the Wiccan Read, it says, if it harms none, do what you will. Step up your game. Lots of Wiccans are vegetarian or vegan. Again, Wiccans are vegetarian or vegan. It does seem to be a more increasing popularity within Wicca to be a vegetarian and a vegan, but you don't have to be. Actually, the basis of like paganism, things like that, a lot of their traditions on the celebrations and the Sabbaths and things like that is tradition to eat meat. So that's not actually, it's not like a tradition or anything like that. I just want to put that out there. A general like increase of things anyway, especially within the pagan community and within the Wicca community, because if you do follow if it harms none, do you will rule, I think it's your choice to see whether that includes animals or not. But obviously I do include that. To me that means every living thing, but just because I do does not mean that everyone else has to. Destruction. A lot of Wiccans are not vegetarian or vegan. Again, this is just how I see it. Just because it kind of seems to make sense that it reduces a lot of the suffering. Are witchcraft and Wicca the same? Even though the Wicca religion is based around the traditions of witchcraft and they're extremely similar, it is not the same thing. It's kind of like saying all Buddhists are monks. It's just not true. Like I said, Wiccans practice nature adoration. They work side by side in tune with nature, with spells and magic, as opposed to believing that they are above nature. A lot of Wiccans would not refer to themselves as witches since it is not the same thing. But again, also a lot of Wiccans do think it's acceptable to associate witchcraft and Wicca together. So I basically within this point, I guess I kind of thought that lots of witches at that point also followed like the pagan religion. Because I was just in my own bubble, I kind of thought that like Wicca was like the main influenced religion within witches' life, which it is in some way. But basically to be a witch, you need to practice witchcraft, okay? This can be considered as divination, necromancy, this can be herbs, potions, spells, rituals, rites, ceremonies. There's so many different elements of what you can consider witchcraft to be, but basically to be a witch, you need to practice witchcraft of some kind, and that's all you need to be a witch. So you can be a witch and have another religion, you can be a Buddhist witch, you can be a Christian witch, anything like that, because you don't have to have a religion, you don't have to follow the Wicca faith or anything to be a witch. You just don't have to do that. So Wicca, whatever you'd like to say, is a faith, a specific faith or philosophy or whatever. It has like a basis to what it's all about as a defined religion on its own, but it incorporates witchcraft as a part of its practice. So yeah. Come on, you daft bitch, sort of same thing, but also some are very not okay with it, as witchcraft is very strongly associated with only using like magic and spells for purposes of evil and selfish needs that kind of contribute no good to the earth. Is it the same as paganism? Again, wait, why did I just say that? Sorry, I'm gonna have to just rewind that. So what I think I was trying to say there, again, I think a lot of people in this video, because even I got like fucking triggered then. What I was trying to say there, by the way, was that it is associated with it, so people don't like to be referred to as witches that are Wiccans. I mean, it is so strongly associated with like Satanism, because people as like non-witches and things like that, if you call somebody witch, usually your mind just goes to like Satan. People who may believe in different faiths or may have had just of the experience with fantasy, witchcraft and things like that, or they go to Harry Potter or something like that. So some people, I call myself a witch all the time now. But as a Wiccan, you would still be called a witch because you are somebody that practices witchcraft, so you are technically still a witch. What I was trying to say is that it was associated with that, not saying that is what witches are. I know Little Harmony, and I know that she wouldn't have said that witches are like that, because I practiced witch for years, witchcraft as just consider myself a witch for years. I think I just said it like that because that's why some people didn't want to be associated with it. Again, Jesus Christ. Actually, it is not the same as, right, so paganism, this is the part that really fucking pissed my brain off, because again, I've been practicing this for around 2 years, but I'd never actually looked into what paganism was. So before I even say this part, at the time I thought paganism was like a whole other religion, which basically it's an umbrella term for lots of nature-based religions, or a nature-based religion within itself. Yeah, it's not the same as Wicca. Like, paganism is not the same as Wicca. It's still like an umbrella term for a nature-based religion, so paganism is Wicca. Wicca is paganism in some form, if you get what I'm saying. Why I call it Wicca is because it's not the same. It is built around a neo-pagan religion, like it is built around traditions of witchcraft as well. Wicca is a form of paganism. Most Wiccans follow the traditional pagan beliefs, and even though the majority of Wiccans would refer to themselves as being pagan, if you're a pagan, you're not necessarily Wiccan. For example, my dad strongly agrees with the pagan. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that in a sense that like it is built around the foundations of what paganism teaches and what like elements of witchcraft and things like that. Pagans don't consider themselves as Wiccan because pagan's an umbrella term for lots of other things. So I still refer to myself as pagan too. Like I refer to myself as pagan and a witch and a Wiccan. Like in the teachings, he thinks it makes most sense to him, and he would refer to himself as a pagan if he had to pick a religion to be with, but obviously he is not a Wiccan, and he does not follow the religion in the slightest. Do Wiccans celebrate holidays like Christmas or Halloween? No, I do take part in Christmas as well. It's more of a family gathering. We kind of don't really refer to it as Christmas. It's kind of just a family celebration when we all get together for Christmas Day, but none of my family are Wiccan, just so you know. I'm the only Wiccan in my family. Yule, I kind of celebrate for my own beliefs. Samhain is on October the 31st, which is the same day as Halloween. Still think you can refer to it as Halloween or Samhain, whatever you would like. You can refer to it as that, but actually Christian holidays that have been made now are usually taken from pagan traditions. For example, Halloween is Samhain, but people have taken it and misconstrued it and taken culture and made it into a popularised thing. It's a very, very important holiday. It represents the end of the Wiccan year, the wheel of the year. It is a day to honour our ancestors. Sometimes I do call it Halloween still because it just happens. Like don't get all like funny about things like that. I always find it really silly because I mean I celebrated it as Halloween up until I was 17. So I do sometimes still call it Halloween, but to me, what I actually celebrate on the day is Samhain to me, like it's Samhain. I don't think it's really crazy strict. Mabon, which you can celebrate from the 20th to the 23rd of September. Summer solstice from June the 20th to 23rd of June. May Day. And also like I refer to these as like weird names, but I don't refer to them as that anymore. Like celebrate Llamas, which is on October the 1st. I personally don't celebrate it just because I think it's quite an outdated. Okay, so firstly, I think I literally read up for it for about 3 seconds and didn't really celebrate it for like 2 years. It's strange to see me like speak about it like that. I think I read like something about it that had something that I didn't agree with, and then I just completely disregarded it. Stupid. And I didn't even speak about the Wheel of the Year thing and how it's so important, how each mark in the Wheel of the Year represents a new kind of like time and new natural occurrence for the world, and how important it was to live by these things if you are practicing Wicca, for everything that you do, for your magic and everything like that. Holiday to celebrate because the meanings behind it. Nice candles in the back there. Yorick. Where's he gone? My personal opinion, if you guys would like me to talk more about the holidays, I would really like to do an Enchanted Endeavors episodes on that, so let me know what you guys think. So, such a frequently asked question
I don't agree
do we perform
with what
spells
I'm saying
or use
here
magic?
either.
Like I said before, Wiccans do not believe in supernatural magic. Wiccans believe that magic is simply making use of the 5 senses that we have in order to achieve extremely effective results, and just kind of putting positive energy into the world and using nature to help you. If you guys do not know, is what I'm just like not explaining this very well. I'm happier that I'm not just spouting bullshit, but I'm just not explaining things very well at all. To me, magic is not as I explained it. To me, magic is all around us. I think genuinely magic is, and I do think it's pretty intense and wonderful. I think I was trying to like, I think I was very nervous about releasing that video, and I was trying to make it sound like as crazy as I could. As uncrazy, that's a word. Yeah. To me, magic is all around us. I think it's a magical thing that the sun rises and sets every day. I think there's energy, magic, and power everywhere. And I genuinely believe magic can come in so many different forms. But when it comes to spell casting and like using magic, I believe it is a manipulation of the natural occurrences and using your 5 senses and using your intent to create something. So you're using your energy and the energy around you, placing a specific intent to create the spell that you would like to do to make an effective change. Whereas in this video, I think I was using magic as a word for like spell casting and things like that. Whereas magic to me, it means so much more than just like casting spells and doing a bit of witchcraft and things like that. To me, magic is, I think it's all around us in so many different ways and elements. I think celebrating the Sabbats is magic. I think the fairy spirits in the fields are magic. I think water can be magical. I think the sky and the sun and the moon can be magic, and it's so different to what I explained it as. Kind of like how karma works and make a difference. Quote, magic is the art of science to change consciousness according to will. So yeah, we do cast spells. Like I said, we use natural elements of nature to create spells that you can learn from books, off the internet, from other Wiccans. But it's not like over like a bubbling cauldron. We don't sacrifice. Cauldrons are real. I don't know why I said it like, oh, we don't sit over a bubbling cauldron. I literally had a cauldron. There is bad and good magic, and Wiccans strongly believe to only use magic to make the world a better place. And again, that's not true. I use Wicca for selfish needs and things like that sometimes. Yeah, I'm saying it. I think at the time I was so focused on being like a positive Wiccan. I wanted to spread it in such a positive light. I'm standing up for myself, and I really don't mean to be like covering up and being like, oh, everything I said was okay. But I can see as like a young me where I'm coming from. So if I'm like, you feel like I'm standing up for myself like a bit too much, I think it's important to acknowledge the mistakes that were made and learn from them. There's bad and good magic that we like to refer to as a left-hand path and the right-hand path, as opposed to using white magic and black magic. And a lot of other Wiccans don't like to associate the colour black with being something negative. The right-hand path is positive magic. I agree with that still, but I actually just use it as positive and negative magic now, because left-hand and right-hand to me, I'm like, what is a coven and am I in a coven? Coven is usually a coven can be as big and as small as you want it to be, honey. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what a coven is. Well done, Ham, you got something like kind of right. Coven is basically just like, it could be a large or small group of people. Some covens have like priests and priestesses and like ranks of like how far up in the coven you can go. Some people can be in charge of things like that. They can just be a few group of people where you can have like a small place where you do just gather for the Sabbats and ceremonies and to cast spells and rituals. It can actually be like a proper school where you go and you learn. It can be a place that you'll live together, you'll stay, or it can be a place that you go to and you gather like once a week or every single day or whatever. There's so many different elements to what a coven actually is. No, I am personally not in a coven by choice. You don't have to be in a coven. For some reason there's this massive thing where a lot of people think, again, I chose not to be in a coven just because like I don't feel like there's ever been a coven that I feel like is right for me. I've been asked to join covens, I have been asked to create a coven with a few people, but I've never really felt the need. I'm happy being a solitary Wiccan for now. Do we believe in a god or a goddess? Wicca is... Okay, so again, that's not true. I didn't like it at the time. I still don't like loving it, but like I understand the meaning behind a god and a goddess more now. I think I just didn't like it because I didn't like it being related to like Christian beliefs, because I was just like, you know, a bit small-minded and things like that then. But I also like did look into deities before this video, but I think I just kind of spoke about the ones that I mainly kind of follow. And there is no kind of dogmatic or ethical code when it comes to Wicca. Wiccans tend to follow a sort of code. If it harms none, do what you will. I said that, they tend to. Some people do, some people don't. From a god when they pass over, which leads me to my next question. Do Wiccans believe in life after death? Most Wiccans believe in... It's making me sad because I was so sweet. Yeah, I still believe in that. Saying this now, I am still kind of like 50-50 on whether I think reincarnation is real. Again, debates on what Summerland is. That's something that I'm still kind of debating on, and I think it's okay to say that. I think it's okay not to be sure about parts like that, because that's something that I've always struggled with. Death is something that I struggle with quite a lot. Walking and reflect with them, and others believe that you are in a tranquil state, reflecting on your life and preparing for your next reincarnation. I'm not 100% convinced about life after death theories, but to me, this just makes the most sense out of it. Last question that I have to touch on is, how do you become a Wiccan? Firstly, before I go any further, you can be any ethnicity, any race, any gender, and of any sexuality to be a Wiccan. There was true, you don't have to. In the 50s or 60s that said that it wasn't okay. I mean, that's why I've always liked that saying. I get why people don't follow that, because I think it can be flawed, and I also think it's important to recognise that with that saying, you don't have to be a pushover, nor do you have to watch bad things happen and not stop them because you might harm something else. And you also have to recognise that harm and things like that do happen, but that balance is like the most important thing in Wicca. There can be no good without bad, and I feel like then I was so like focused on being positive because I'd lived a negative life for so many years. To me now, like positivity, I think I'm a much more positive person now than I was back then because I understand a lot more. I'm so much more self-aware. I'm also aware that there's bad things that happen, but I don't think necessarily if you do a bad thing you're automatically a bad person. I just think things happen, and I think that it's interesting to see me kind of say this. It's so sweet. I feel like emosh, but it's sweet how like I was so like pushed for positivity, but now I realise that there is no stopping negativity. There is only just being self-aware on what you can do to avoid negative thoughts and feelings. And I genuinely do believe loving the world helps the world kind of love you back. Harm happens and sometimes mistakes are made, but one thing that I've also learned is just not to punish yourself for it. Just focus on what you can do next. It should have just apologized and learned to get better at things. I was so positive back then, but like almost I feel like I gave so much that now I realise that you can't like give your whole being. Which is spelled with a C and a K, by the way, just so you know, you guys. Okay, not all people decide to do that. That's a completely C and K. It just kind of differentiates between the two because the C and the K, just some people like to use it so people know that it's not like fantasy fairy tale magic that they're talking about. Or create an altar, it can be a place of meditation or where they do their Wicca stuff. Again, it's not 100% completely necessary. You don't have to do that to be a Wiccan. Simply being with self-dedication ceremonies, they're kind of a lot more common than you think. I think after like a year and a day of practicing, and I am planning to do one when I've practiced my cottage Wicca path soon, so I can dedicate myself to like the cottage Wicca path, as I genuinely feel like I found my place. Altars, you create them at the start. Usually you don't have to wait a year. I think I made it sound like that, like you are a Wiccan can make you again. I think someone got angry with me for saying this, but what I think I meant, I can't just suddenly like be a Wiccan, like you do actually have to practice the Wicca faith, but I think really you have to just have the belief and live as a Wiccan to be a Wiccan. It's not as simple as it sounds, and it's also not as hard as it sounds. Know everything to be considered as a Wiccan, because nobody will ever know everything. I know some people like to think they do, I know. Be something you believe in and something that you practice. You can call yourself it if you want, if to yourself. Maybe you're like looking to come out about it, maybe wait a little bit and then tell people that you are, just so you can educate people properly if they are curious about it. A Wiccan, I did choose to do it, but I did in like a form of meditation as such of some of the other ceremonies that people choose to do. It's a nice thing to do, but it's not. I don't feel like it's 100% necessary still, but before you have a go, but like I don't see why you wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're like practicing all these things and you're suddenly like, I just don't want to do a self-dedication ceremony. I think self-dedication ceremonies can come in different forms. They don't have to be as like extreme as it sounds like. You don't have to like, I don't know, I think I made it sound like it was like really extreme sort of thing, but it's not. It can come in so many different forms. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it was helpful. Also, like I didn't mention anything to do with the moon in this. Like I did not mention anything to do with the sun, like how we live our lives by like natural occurrences and all of that stuff. I didn't really go into a lot of detail or depth about anything in this video, but I think at the time I was like, right, main bits, let's get it in, short, snappy video so people will watch it. Didn't end up being that great, but I think I've kind of redeemed myself through Enchanted Endeavors episodes, even though I do feel like I've got loads more to add to them. So yeah, that is that. I think it would be really, really interesting to actually do another Enchanted Endeavors all about Wicca, but maybe I could put the title of that video as like updated version available, like I said, and then make a new one and discuss how I feel about it now. What I think is the most important elements to kind of get to somebody that has no idea about Wicca. Hello, Lucifer. Speaking of Wiccans not believing in Satan, here's my cat Lucifer. Again, this is something that I wanted to do because I really wanted to just move forward with like Wicca on my channel and like take it to the next level. I'm so like innocent and so like positive, and I literally like, I still think the world is like such a beautiful place, but in a completely different way to what I used to, and I think I'm a lot happier now. I feel like before I was like positivity, nothing is rubbish, blah blah blah, everything, when actually I understand balance a lot more. Hello my darling, you've not said hello to the people on YouTube for a while. Have you? I'm making a habit. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I sure did. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below. Been so nervous to film this. Thank you so much for watching. That's all I really have to say. Love you all. Thank you for sticking with me if you've been with me since that video. Love you. Bye.